Easy listening here for Lucha por Lucha. We've got special guest Richard Reason in the house, everybody. Round of applause, please.
I think that's the first round of applause I've ever had.
First and last, my friend. Here we are, late night. These are the after hours here in San Antonio. Alvaro Riojas here with Melissa Riojas.
Hey, it's 1 a.m.
Is it really? Is it 1 a.m.?
Well, it's 12:53.
Well, Mel and I just drove into San Antonio. We've got business to attend to out here. Came and paid our good friend Richard Reason a visit, and we are in his home, which is very, very clean, if you all were wondering.
Do you mind if I smoke this joint?
Well, ask my wife. It's her house.
Wait a minute.
We're in Richard Reason's apartment, and he's asking us if it's all right if he could smoke.
Hey, man.
It's going to stink up the mic.
Everybody close your eyes.
I have a baby face in my house.
If somebody asks me what reason Richard Reason is known for in wrestling, I think it's the way that Richard Reason does his promos and the way he's able to get messages across. Where do you think that comes from?
I've always been one that was a fan of words and, wordplay and how to string things in a certain way. I think once I got older and more confident with public speaking and things like that, I was able to start blending the two. And then I would just, kind of think of bullet points in my head of like clever things to say or like funny ways to put things or, different perspectives. And then, kind of just let it go on the live mic, with those bullet points in head, as a promo, kind of like as a wrestling match, you kind of tell a story, you call some audibles sometimes. But it's structured the same way. I have certain little things I want to do, but I'm also calling it in the ring, brother,
When you were a fan, was that the first thing that appealed to you in wrestling? Was a promo, or was it the action going on?
Well, no. When I first started watching, it was definitely the action. I remember flipping through channels, seeing Stone Cold and Mankind and The Rock doing their thing in their heyday, like right in the thick of things. But I specifically remember the episode of Raw where they were doing that suicide angle with Road Warrior Hawk.
Yeah.
It was Hawk, right?
Well, he's climbing the Tron.
Yeah. And, he climbed up there and, with the whole struggle happened. And then, you see the body fall or whatever is that grand sensationalism of it. So, really, to answer your question, maybe neither. Maybe the action nor the promos, but like, the dramatic nature of that type of storytelling during that time.
Now, would you say it's the drama or the theatrics, or would that fall under the same umbrella?
You'd probably fall roughly under the same umbrella. I'm not saying that's what I, love about wrestling or...
okay, what do you love about wrestling?
Well, the action, the stories. I'm a big story guy, I love a good story, and wrestling is just such a unique way to tell a story. You have certain parameters, certain guidelines in what pro wrestling is. And you're able to be as creative with it as you want. And I think that's just super cool. And then of course the action. It's a sport at heart. It was a sport first. There's a lot of competition aspects that led to where the business is today. So yeah, it's fun to see exciting, hard hitting, athletic competition. The perception of competition.
A lot of times that we have people on, they talk about family members introducing them to wrestling, whether it's their grandma, their dads, their siblings. Do you have that? Who introduced you to wrestling, or was that something that you found by yourself?
It was actually I just found it. I guess I was the statistic of the wrestling growth in the Attitude Era, where it just reached so many new eyes and so many new households, and I was definitely part of that statistic. I was just flipping channels or talking about it with other kids at school, and just kind of grew on itself, and something clicked, and I went from just like discovering it to like being like this hardcore fan. It was weird.
What did you see or hear that drew you in?
It's hard to say, exactly. But Stone Cold would definitely be one. He was, everybody knew who he was.
Cold Stone.
Cold Stone, indeed.
My boy Cold Stone.
But yeah, he was everywhere. T-shirts. The TV shows, little teddy bears or whatever that they would sell at gas stations. So it was like this thing happening around me, and I finally took a look at it. And it turned out to be pretty cool.
Did you ever get in trouble in school for it?
Yeah, a bunch. I mean, all the T-shirts really. They had made you turn it inside out, or or change if you can. I remember, doing like not really doing a wrestling move, but like kind of miming it, with like one of the other kids. I don't even remember if he was a friend or not. He might have just been walking in the hallway. But I remember going to the principal's office for that one. I mean, yeah, a lot of like schoolyard scuffles that would happen. I'd end up like doing wrestling moves or like submissions that I did try that at home. Like I broke their rule. I tried it at home, but like in fights and stuff. Like
Do
I got
not
somebody.
try this at home.
I did. and
Would you do it again?
I probably, it was a fun time. I remember literally getting somebody in an ankle lock on the tetherball pole. It was ridiculous. I don't know how these things, and no, I didn't get in trouble for that one.
I mean, when you're a kid, do you picture yourself as either a good guy or bad guy, or is that like?
Probably a good guy. I think that's kind of how everybody starts. It's the adulation of the crowd. It's the, the adrenaline you get, from the pops. I think that's kind of how it starts, and then people that gravitate towards heels or bad guys. I think it all kind of comes from that original thought of getting that kind of ovation or being the baby face or being popular. In whatever aspect that is. Stone Cold also kind of blurred the lines on that one too. What was bad became cool, so therefore good is bad, but bad is good, and who knows where anything is, but it's cool.
Sounds like the Green Ranger. He started off bad and people liked him, so they brought him back.
It's exactly like the Green Ranger.
Would you say that you're a natural heel?
I would absolutely say I'm a natural heel. Like ever since I really found my voice, I'm going back to high school and being the class clown and doing all that stuff for attention that I think a lot of wrestlers probably did, and it later translated to being in front of people and doing these like cool or stupid or crazy shit. But no, yeah, definitely naturally a heel. I don't mind being disliked or booed, or I think I get a kick out of it, especially. And here's a key. I was thinking about this the other day. Here's a key. If I feel like I have a reason for what I'm doing, if I feel like that's justified and they're the ones that are wrong, but I'm holding up to my character, my standards, and they want to boo that, fuck them. So I think that's a key aspect. I don't think I would admire being a heel or enjoy being a heel if I thought I was doing wrong.
You're also very witty. Like you're very funny.
Well, thank you. I don't know how to insult that. Yeah, and I think that carries through and comes across, and it makes you want to boo, right? Because I think most wrestling fans know what's up. Yeah, you get the occasional, like old ladies that just, like I guess it's still real to them, damn it, and they'll try to storm the ring and stuff like that, or drunk guys that.
But isn't that what you want though?
Well, of course, that's what I'm saying. You get those too, and I'm saying the majority of fans, I feel like kind of know what time it is, know what the game is. And if you're funny, witty, like you're describing, I think that booing is an unsaid way of supporting.
So looking back at when you first started, what were your thoughts and your feelings walking through the doors at your first day of training? Like, talk to us about the times leading up to that and how you felt leading up and then starting your first day.
I mean, pretty surreal. I mean, leading up to it, I was in high school. I was like a junior. Started researching schools, started making goals, started hitting the gym, studying tape, things like that. And then I was, from the Valley, moved to San Antonio the first time, like the day after high school. It was like ridiculously early. And then I started training that Monday. I had like that Sunday to like sit in my empty apartment, and then went to training on Monday. Yeah, it was surreal, man, because I can still remember like the smell of like the old warehouse that we were in, and like the dust, the concrete dust, and the wrestling ring. The ring has a smell to it, a feel to it. Especially when you're first exposed to it, that stuff kind of sticks with you. I couldn't tell you what I was thinking. I probably wasn't thinking anything. I was probably this dumb kid somewhere I didn't belong, But I could tell you what I felt, and what I remembered and what I smelled, and the ring, the guys I was with, the guys I started with, the sweat, the dirt, it's kind of hard to. It feels like an out of body experience at first. It's super cool. It's something that that you didn't think you could do, and now you're doing it. That's what I remember feeling and thinking.
I think everyone's journey is very memorable. Like you said, it's people see that growing up. People see wrestling on TV, so that dream seems so far-fetched. So then when you walk through those doors and see that ring, you know you're going to get into that ring. You know you're going to run those ropes. You're going to learn, and it must have been so exciting.
Yeah, exciting and also daunting too, because it was a.
Were you an athletic kid?
No, absolutely not. No,
You were a nerd, weren't you?
I was. Hey now. No, I was not athletic. I mean, I played some sports, in middle school and in high school, and I was in the band and stuff, and I could hold my own, but certainly not athletic by any means. That's why before I graduated high school, I hit the gym so hard to get into some kind of a decent shape to call myself at least an aspiring athlete. But no, growing up I was not very athletic.
So what made you think you could do this?
I just one day decided that it was possible. I watched a lot of early ROH at the end of high school, and really started seeing guys like CM Punk, really stuck out to me during that time, just because, he didn't look the best, he didn't have the best gear, but he could talk, and he was just having really entertaining matches, Samoa Joe, Bryan Danielson, AJ Styles, all those guys that were going through there at the time. And then, all the other guys too. And it just made me see you know what, man, this might be something I could do, with hard work for sure. But it entered the realm of possibility, and then, sprinkle a little hard work on that. And then, there I was in some warehouse in some city I've never been in before, or, besides Fiesta, Texas, watching Shawn Michaels growing up, as a smaller kid. And that was kind of the fantasy, the awe, there's no way I could do that, but seeing those guys, on that circuit during that time in the early 2000s and mid 2000s, that kind of changed the game in terms of what I thought I could accomplish.
And just to clarify, you're talking about Shawn Michaels, you trained that feeling that you were mentioning, that was at the Shawn Michaels Wrestling School, TWA, Texas Wrestling Academy.
Yeah, that was
in San Antonio.
In San Antonio, yeah, it was the Shawn Michaels Wrestling Academy. Then sold to their head trainer, Rudy Boy Gonzalez. Shout out to Theo Rudy.
I didn't know that.
And then they became his. So
Very cool.
So yeah, when I was researching, and at first, there were, now there's so many wrestling schools that you could throw a rock and hit two of them, but back then, it was his school, and it was I think Tugboat Taylor had a school.
Was that in Houston?
I think either in Houston or in Corpus. I don't remember which one, but those were the only two viable schools that I could find while researching during that time. I knew San Antonio a little bit better, so that kind of
I remember the PWI magazines. I think it was PWI. There was way more wrestling magazines than there are now back then growing up. But I remember one of those magazines had a list of schools that were in every state. And I remember cutting out the part that had the Texas school. I can't remember the schools that were on there, but I remember having that little clip of literature in my drawer. Never did anything with it. But I eventually found my way into the business.
Hey, but you remembered keeping it, though.
Yeah, I did. I did.
That's a part of it, man. It's all.
Hey, man, the heroes in the movies would do things like that. So,
it's all connected.
Alvaro's always had main character energy all his life.
See, that's long-term storytelling.
Reason could have told you that.
As it was happening, you knew it was a core memory.
Oh
yeah.
Man, yeah. This guy he's probably the best I've ever seen at putting himself over. He is a goddamn champion.
I think that's the one thing we have most in common, you and I. Yeah. We just know how much Alvaro loves to put himself over.
Hey man, somebody's gotta.
No, it's endearing. I find it.
It's allowed in this world.
That's true. There's no rule against it.
How long did you train before you had your first match?
Well, shit. Okay, so that's where the big gap in the timeline happens because I got hurt. I had like this tear in my back. I think I like
You were a
took
damn
or-
athlete. That's why.
No, I mean there was like a
Busting your ass.
There was a fucking gap in the fucking wood or in the
Damn,
mat.
Rudy,
or
what are you,
something.
Rudy? Take care of your equipment, Rudy boy.
Yeah, that was like in some just not like during official training. It was like one of those like open ring type of things where we were
Gotcha.
just like
Everyone gets
extra
in there
time,
and tries
yeah.
to
fucking
let me
Sunday
try
or
this move
something.
on you.
Yeah, some fucking around in there, finding out.
You found out.
I found out.
Damn.
But so that put me out for a little while. But I'd keep coming back. But I never really came back with the same ferocity as I once did. I don't know if I was just mentally afraid of getting injured again, because I certainly wasn't at the top of my head. I wasn't afraid of getting. I didn't give a shit. But like I don't know, how sometimes your body kind of does things for you. And I think I kind of became a little bit more hesitant, subconsciously from that. So I just really wasn't the same for a long time. But I would continue to, show up and to, for little sporadic periods of time for about 2 years, to 2009. We'd do shows, we'd go on the road, do, ring crew type stuff, security or, whatever, just going to the shows, helping out.
No matches yet?
No matches, no.
For 2 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like that's old school, man.
Good 2 years. Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say earlier too. It was 2 weeks before we even touched the ring. That was like Rudy Boy's like old school mentality.
What would you do for 2 weeks?
Fucking
Calisthenics?
try to run you off. Yeah, like just like
Thanks for the pay.
Yeah, just a bunch of cardio, calisthenics.
Was Rudy doing it with you guys?
Fuck no.
I couldn't even say that with a straight face.
No, I mean, why would he, bro?
I know. I'm teasing.
He doesn't need to.
I'm teasing. I could just imagine.
I just don't want a vague Facebook post later about like something.
Okay. No, we got you.
Just kidding. We love you.
We got you. It's the other Rudy boy. We're talking about the other Rudy boy. I'm giving my wife a ton to edit.
Yeah.
Earn your way.
No, I mean, you don't have to edit that. I like that. It's all in good fun. With that being said, yeah, I was like a little 2 years, maybe off and on, missing a few months here and there, but about 2 years, and just really wasn't in my right space. I got into a lot of things that I shouldn't be getting into, messing around with girls and drugs and figuring out that life could be fun in bad ways, and you just take your eyes off the prize and somebody else grabs it. So that's what happened. I moved back to the Valley in 2009. And that was like the ultimate failure, It was like that's the only wrestling I knew. As far as I was concerned, there was zero wrestling in the Valley. Just it's over, type thing. And I was at a WWE house show or something that like went to the Dodge Arena or the State Farm Arena, whatever the fuck it is. I was outside smoking a cigarette, and there was another guy out there and said something along the lines of wrestling in the Valley. And I said, "What'd you say?" And he's like, yeah, man, there's this wrestling revolution, and they're out of McAllen downtown. If you should hit up Danny Ramones. He's like their trainer or something like that. Because I think we must have talked about how I used to train or something like that. Otherwise, I don't know why that would have come up. But I assume we were talking about that, or he's just Danny Ramones' hype man. But so I reached out and I was like, just to see if it was real, just like, are you sure? And then
Are you there?
Yeah. And then they're like, yeah. I was like, oh shit. Well, I'm gonna go hide for a second.
You hung up.
Yeah. I got nervous.
Star 69. Richard, someone called. It's for you. Mom.
Damn it, Mom. So, yeah, it took a little while. But I kept that little nugget of information in my head, and I played around with it.
Do you know what year that was?
That was 2013.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then in comes Richard Reason.
Well, yeah. So I leave a job. I think I got fired for some bullshit.
What'd you steal?
I didn't know. They didn't catch me stealing the thing. It was for something else.
They didn't catch me.
Okay, or whoever it was. I mean, it was a disagreement with management. Management was restructuring. So that I walked out of the place and was like, all right, well, I guess I'm gonna go back to training and you do the wrestling thing. So I reached out. Danny Ramones told me to meet with a Willie Starnes at a flea market in Mission. And man, like that's a badass flea market. But if it's like your first time there and you don't know anybody, like I could have sworn I got stabbed. I still think to this day.
I could have sworn I got stabbed. How do you not know? You're not sure?
There was an episode of Walker, Texas Ranger where he got done fighting the bad guys and he didn't realize he got stabbed. That's who I wanted to be, man.
Yeah.
No, so I'm meeting Willie Vermin, at this flea market. Where's your ref shirt? I was like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I don't have a ref shirt. And he's like, all right. You sit in the crowd. I'll make something up. We'll need a referee, and I'll pick a fan, and I'll close my eyes and I'll spin around and I'll point. And when I open my eyes, I'll know where you are. But when I open my eyes, I'll be pointing to you and just act surprised real quick. But then like fucking get in the ring, hurry the fuck up. But not too quick. Just be surprised, but hurry the fuck up. So we did it, and as I'm getting in the ring, the very first thing that happens is I get into this fucking wrestling ring that I haven't been in 4 or 5 years, and I nicked my balls on the way in, right on the second rope. I cannot make this up, man. I just had to start that whole thing holding my stomach.
Because girls, for those of you who have never felt the pain, when you get hit in the gonads in that area, the pain rushes up to the gut.
Oh, your tummy hoits.
It was unpleasant. It was unpleasant. And so, yeah, anyway, we worked the match, or they worked the match. I just fucking, I watched a lot of wrestling, so I know what refs do. I just.
How nervous were you?
Not as much as you may think, only because I just put it in the back of my head. And that's how I learned to deal with that kind of nerves, and that went on through when I started wrestling and everything. Like that's just I have to not think about it, push forward, and think about it later. Like that's why through a lot of matches, especially like really long or really good matches that I had that I felt good about, I would spend hours after the show just replaying the whole thing in my head. And because now I'm thinking about it. Now I'm living it. I'm loving it. At the time, in order to get around all that, I just kind of plow forward and do what I need to do, and having fun while I'm doing it. I'm not some robot out there, but I'm focused at the task at hand.
Whenever it was just starting off, we'd send them to the pulga.
Yeah,
go start out over there.
Yeah, see what you do, and then from there. Then Willie was like, all right, you did good. Because refs didn't get paid at that time. They just didn't. He gave me I think he got paid $10. He gave me $5.
Gave you a bite of his hot dog.
Yeah.
Half a handshake.
Yeah, he gave me half his pay, man. Super, super cool of him to do.
I was about to say, how cool was that, man?
To make it feel like I, did something, he didn't have to do that. I'm sure no one did that for him, and that was super cool. It was a small little gesture, it's $5, but it's a big gesture,
dude. And you're talking about a guy who was doing this every week.
Yeah,
it was every week because the pulga shows were every Sunday,
right?
WR shows were every Friday.
Yeah,
and this guy was able to right then and there just carny his way into bringing you in as a ref. Yeah. By spinning around and pointing at someone in the audience.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah. He doesn't get enough credit, man. Those that know. But there's a lot that don't, and that's that's a shame.
It is. It is because I think his fingerprints are all over the valley. Mm-hmm. He did a lot of good. He brought a lot of people in, and he molded a lot of these performers that you see now. If it wasn't for Willie, I wouldn't have gotten the position I got. A lot of us wouldn't have had any opportunities if it wasn't for Willie, initiating those beginnings for us, and very selfless in that aspect.
Yeah.
So tell us about how Richard Reason came to be.
So like the gimmick or like
Yeah.
that took me a while too, man. I thought about it. For the longest time, I would tell people, like when I was with, training with Rudy Boy, which by the way, I never finished training with Rudy Boy. I did not graduate from the Texas Wrestling Academy. I want to make that very fucking clear. So that never happened, but I also don't want anybody thinking that, I'm trying to take credit or, trying to say that I trained somewhere that I didn't. Like, no, I was there, but no, I fucking didn't graduate, so don't yell at me. So anyway, while I was there, I really, like, my gimmick in my head was like wrestling trainee. Like, it was like the guy in the basketball shorts with like the cut off t-shirt and like, the fucking, that guy. Like, that's who my gimmick was in my head. I didn't really know who I was or who I wanted to be. So during that time, I started to like think a lot about like atheism and things like that, and secularism, and there was like a movement going on. I remember that like it was like the cool thing to do, and I don't remember how it happened, but I was like, whoa, if I could just apply that, that kind of thought process, that character, that militant atheism, or that questioning religion, or like that kind of stuff that was going on, if I could just fit that into a character, that would be great, So then I thought of, what would be a good name then? So it was like things like reason, like logic, like rationale. These are things that kind of like stood out in one words to describe these what I'm talking about. I decided that reason sounded most like a name, I think even it is. It's not very common, but I've seen it out there where people have that last name.
You have relatives out there?
Long lost. I don't want to know you unless you have money. Oh, Deborah Reason, nice to meet you. But yeah, so and then I wanted the double letter to match. If it was gonna be Reason, fine. So I'm in your first name with an R. Going along with that kind of atheist gimmick going on at the time, Richard Dawkins was a big guy that was kind of out there, having conferences and telling people these things, and not that you shouldn't believe in God, but why it's like kind of unnecessary. It's like kind of an old idea. However, I do see there was a time in history where it is a very elegant solution to a big problem. If you didn't know what rain was, I would probably pray to a God too, because that shit, water's coming from the sky again. Like, what the fuck?
Huh?
Like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck it, God. What's going on? But there it is again. What the fuck? Richard Dawkins, Richard Reason, took his first name, mixed it with the Reason, and we got Richard Reason out of it.
It's such a great gimmick. Like one of my
Thanks.
favorites for sure.
If it's great, it's because it's broad and it opens itself up to a lot of possibilities. Like when I first started, I was really militant about it. Like I'd bring up God in promos and shit like that. And I always heard you shouldn't do that, because not for like it's offensive or whatever, but it's like because it's gonna make the crowd shut the fuck up.
Oh,
And
like it gets
not,
too serious.
That's not
Too much.
Yeah, that's not the reaction that you want. But, I was at the time, in true heel fashion, I felt I was right. And and cut a lot of those promos. Some of them went okay. But, yeah, there was a lot that just the crowd fell flat. And they're just like, what the fuck is this dude talking about? I wanted all the heat, brother.
But you didn't want the silence. You didn't want the, let's shut this place down. This is blasphemy.
Well, you see, that's the difference. I don't really see silence as heat. At least not the right kind, not in that sense.
That's not the goal.
Yeah, not in that sense.
That's not the goal. Not
no,
that
I mean the reaction is the goal. They just stop making noise and they just sit there, that's the opposite of the effect that I wanted. And that didn't happen all the time, but it was just one of those things that you can kind of feel it, like, they were right. Like, okay. And to kind of move on from this. So that's where I kind of moved into the more pure, like, science nature of it, to where things started being a little more tongue-in-cheek and a little more satire. talking about it in a different way rather than, kind of going head first, kind of going around the back door a little bit,
That was the sweet spot.
Right. Yeah, and that seemed to work, that's for the longest time. I mean, when I was doing the militant atheist thing, like, it was there was a lot of people that would reach out to me and be like, this is so cool, like, I've never heard anything like this, like an atheist pro wrestler, what? It was like a cool thing for some people, like if it were me on the other side of that, I would have been one of those people like, damn, dude, that's cool. You don't hear that a lot, like that's a really unique, interesting topic. Or gimmick, but when you get to the science thing, it started to get broader, and it started to be more of like, not only do those same people that were telling me that, they still think it's cool because of the tongue-in-cheek stuff and the satire stuff, but now a broader audience can see the lab coat, or the book, the guy with the book and the lab coat. Oh man, he did this thing or whatever, like it stood out to people. Kids got into
Well,
it.
where did that come from? Talk to us about the lab coat and the book.
Well, the lab coat, well, I mean, they were just standard, props, I was just like, well, one day I was like, man, I've come to a ring in the lab coat, like, and then it'll be like my entrance jacket, I was just uncomfortable with my body at the time. That's sort of
Win-win.
Yeah, so I just started wearing the lab coat.
But were you envisioning already using that book as a weapon?
Not at first. No, not at first. I think it was suggested to me by one of my opponents who needed a way to lose to me, and I
don't want to lose clean.
Yeah.
You got that book.
You ever been hit with a book? That shit can suck,
Yeah, it hurts.
especially like on the flat of your back. Like that's where you get that big smack. Like that's how, yeah. If I wanted to go stiff on somebody, they definitely get in the back. The head is much easier to take than the back. Yeah, that happened a few times. I had a lot of books to run through, man. The Harlingen Public Library was like giving away, like there was like free books, like, and they were all like academic looking, like
Like the encyclopedias.
Yeah,
All the hardcovers.
Yeah, I got like 20 of them motherfuckers. Like it's just sitting in my trunk and just like, you want to tear that one? Go for it. I got another one. And they're like different colors, and I would like this rivalry or this feud is gonna have the blue book, or this one's gonna have the gray book with the red trim,
Were they all the Book of Reason?
I mean,
All of them.
sure. But yeah, man, super cool place to be in. And once you get into that flow state, you just start going like week after week after week, and it just becomes such a you don't know
You
you're
get
in the middle
engulfed
of
in it, man.
Yeah, you don't know you're in the middle of it. Like you really don't.
So what was it like for you to come into Wrestling Revolution? You had been in San Antonio for 2 years and came over here. What was it like for you? What was the biggest difference, and how did you feel about it?
I trained for like an additional year. That story I told you with Willie in the flea market was at the end of 2013. Started in 2014. Like I think like the first show, they were like, just show up on Fridays. We do every Friday. Show up on Friday, help out with the ring. So I show up Friday, and I'm just like kind of running things back and forth. But they needed a referee, I think. So I was a referee for a short time there. I went by Tony Ryan. and I think, if I'm not mistaken, is that what I'm still marked as on your phone?
I have you saved as Tony WR Ref. I left in 2014, so I left when you debuted. I met you when you were a ref. So I was still wrestling. I was still active within the Wrestling Revolution. I might have been injured for a lot of that time.
But you were there shortly thereafter.
And then I left. I was like, he's coming in? Yeah. Hell no.
I'm out.
And the
I'm
heat
outta here.
started. Yep. So yeah, I was doing some reffing and doing the training thing, and then Willie again was like, if you're gonna be wrestling soon, whenever you are ready, the fans probably shouldn't see you as a ref, so we'll stop doing that.
So they made you record matches and edit them.
No, I recognized the need. I said, hey, I have a camera, I can do it. So I became the camera guy. And with that, still that thought in that Willie put in my head about being a wrestler eventually. You don't want to be seen. So I'd always wear hoodies. I would always like try to cover my face.
That I remember.
Yeah. And I'd always like I was always real like serious about that shit. Like I mean, obviously my face was visible. I couldn't cover it, or that would draw more attention if anything. But just try to keep it in the plainest sight possible. And I'd record the matches. I did that, man, for shit. I did that for like must have been like a year. I think I did that for like a year.
Were you doing that and wrestling?
Well, no, and training.
Okay, you were training and recording.
Yeah.
Talk about paying your dues.
Yeah, I was all over that place. Trying to do the dues thing. I did sound for a little while. I was pretty bad at that because the pressure, man. There's a lot of pressure.
You got to hit the right button at the right time.
Yes, man. And then we used the YouTube as you had all the ads like skip through. Like I think I fucked up the national anthem at some point. Like it was ridiculous. But I did that, for a little bit. But recording was where I was able to contribute the most. And then of course upload them to YouTube, send them to everybody. And then later I would start editing videos, like highlight videos. They were called Revolution in Review. I don't know if anybody was a fan of WR during that time. I don't know that they know that I made those videos.
That was a hot time, dude.
Those
videos helped a lot.
It was a hot time.
I think that's why I became your friend. I was like, if anyone's going to make a highlight video out of me, it's this guy. It's Tony WR Ref.
Shit, I didn't even know we were friends.
Get off my show, pal.
Did we just break kayfabe by telling people we're friends?
Oh, we're going to edit that out. We're totally editing that out.
Fair enough. So, I'm doing the camera, doing the review videos. When I showed up one day, I think it was my buddy's birthday, and so before I went to the show, I think we had a couple of drinks or whatever. Willie or Dante or one of them was like, "Hey, somebody didn't show up. You're working Jared tonight," and I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" No, I'm not. What's your music? I think that was the first question they asked. What's your music? I was like, "Oh fuck, what? This is gonna happen."
Were you a few drinks in?
I was. I sobered up immediately, though. Something had shocks you, and you're just like, I'm sober now.
Were you prepared? Rule number 1.
Of course. Yeah, definitely. That part wasn't the problem. Yeah, I had my gear already, and I was already training in it and stuff. It was right at it was just when. Yeah, we went out there for 8, 10. I probably stunk the joint out. It was on the same card as Ray-Ro and Shane Taylor.
Oh shit.
But it just wasn't good.
Well, I mean, everyone always looks back at their debut match and they're disappointed, or this could have been better, that could have been better.
I mean, what could you have possibly expected?
Of course.
It's the first one,
Okay, as a heel, do you ever feel like some of the things that you say, maybe you went too far? Or you really hurt someone's feelings for real?
Yeah. For sure. Just maybe some one-offs. I know it's happened before, but one that stands out is before using the R word or retarded. I'm not gonna abbreviate words. It's a word when you say it, you're not calling anybody it, right? But before that kind of got really fallen out of the mainstream, hey, you really shouldn't say that. It was right at the beginning of hey, you really shouldn't say that. So it was still it was a provocative term that was still usable, and everybody knows it's bad, but you can still use it. Well, I was wrestling for TCW, and it was one of their con shows, and I just looked at the blanketed crowd and didn't look at anybody in specific. It was just looking at the sea of people and pointing and saying shut up, retard, or something like that. Not those words. It was probably more clever, But anyway, I used the word, and yeah, apparently there was a child out there who was autistic, and or I don't really remember, but him and his dad took offense to that word and came and started. Went out there and I apologized and I assured him that it wasn't anything directed towards them specifically. And I recognize that the word's insensitive and won't be used anymore. It goes back to like wanting the right reactions, right? Like I'm not trying to say I'm a good person. I'm just saying I want the right reactions.
Well, you got to think of it as a business because
Exactly.
if people are gonna try to avoid you, then where's the money? Where's the value?
Right. You're exactly right. So that taught me a valuable lesson that day. I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, this people can learn.
Of course. It's all about learning. But, beyond that, I mean, not really. I've had people try to come into the ring and, like, try to start some shit. Some drunk asshole probably just wandered in from downtown, thought that, that he didn't like that shit I was spewing. He wasn't picking up what I was putting
You
down.
were trying to fight a friend of mine, buddy Kenny. Kenny was in the stands. You were on the apron, and you kept threatening, not threatening him,
Is that
but
the
like
dude that I
challenging him.
kicked?
No,
Oh,
that's not the dude that you kicked.
Because
That's another dude.
Kenny,
Yeah.
Kenny happened after that kick.
Oh.
So Kenny
But he
Kenny
didn't
had
get
him
to the ring.
ejected. Kenny got ejected, and then I did my intro. And when I'm saying hi to my group of people, I'm like, "Hey, where's Kenny?" They're like, "Oh, they just ejected him." I was like, "That's who they ejected?" I was like, "Hey, Dave, the ref, let them know that I'm not starting this match unless he comes back."
He got a bigger pop than you when he came back.
No, he did. So like, Dave's like, "Oh, all right." He sends one of the young security kids to run after him, and then Kenny comes back. The crowd's like waiting for him. So the moment Kenny walks in through the entrance, the place just erupts.
Yeah.
Biggest pop that's in El Rey.
And I'm getting pissed. I'm over here like,
That was I shouldn't have done that. Even though like, well, I don't know, because looking back, like the crowd loved it, but I shouldn't that's kind of wrong of me to do. Like you felt threatened to a point where like you had the fan ejected. Or something happened to where
That wasn't my call, man. I don't know how much power you think I have in
Well, I
seeing
thought.
El
I mean,
Rey.
you were a champion, weren't you?
Yeah,
You
but
wielded the power.
No, I didn't. I guess probably because I just kicked the dude. That might have had something to do with it, and Dave might have been a little sensitive. Just threw him out or something.
I mean, that was the last match, right? That was the main event, and then
Yeah,
crowd got hot.
we tore it down that.
We
day.
did.
Yeah, because I was out there for that.
That was
Well,
wild. We had a match where I gave you a power bomb on a bunch of VHSs,
Yeah.
VHS tapes.
Yeah, those were my evidence to my conspiracy theory.
There was
that
a
I
conspiracy
that I was
against
being-
Richard Reason.
I was being held down, man. Well, I had a box of VHS tapes, and the evidence was on there. And as soon as I found a VCR, I was gonna find out what that evidence was.
It never happened.
No. I mean, yeah, I was told to stop doing that. I stopped because
Stop with the conspiracies.
Because every week it just wrote itself, man.
Yeah.
Every week was just something fun to do, like just new things to I was fucking around with Dom, or like or with you. Or with Willie or Dante especially, and when he got drunk, those were fun because I'd really fuck with him. But they were like, "We don't have any end game. Like, what the fuck are we gonna do?
What's the conspiracy?
Yeah, like what is the conspiracy? Like, we got to get this somewhere. Like, or like you're not doing it. Like, stop doing it. We don't have anything. Not that we don't have anything for that. So stop it. So I had a FedEx envelope, an empty FedEx envelope, and I wrote myself a letter from new president of NWA at the time, Billy Corgan, who we were still under their banner. I had him fax me a letter explaining that he doesn't know who I am, to stop calling, and that there is no conspiracy. Like, just drop it. Like, we don't know who you are, dude. So even at the end, it still wrote itself. Like, it was tremendous stuff. But yes, that's the VHSs that you powerbombed me on.
Got rid of the evidence.
Yeah. Fucking bastard.
What have you learned to accept about yourself over time? And what has helped you get there?
I'm kind of selfish in a lot of ways. Not like overtly, I'm not purposely trying to screw people over or anything like that. But I think just a lot of the ways that I make certain decisions, a lot of the ways that I do what I do, it's kind of, it's selfish adjacent for sure. How I realize that though is that you start to, if you start to listen to your criticisms long enough, you start to reflect You reflect and you think like, well, there's so many people from so many different walks of life who don't even know each other that are saying the same thing. It's like, maybe we can like look under the microscope on this one, and like see like at least determine why they're saying that. 'Cause they're saying it for a reason. I mean, if it's just one person trying to piss you off, I wouldn't put any, much weight to that. But yeah, if there's like a lot of people and they don't know each other and they're saying roughly similar things about you at different points in your life, like you got to look inward, at some point. And I think that's something I've definitely realized and don't really know what to do about other than like the awareness and trying to make it better, trying to keep it in mind when you make the decisions.
But even you saying that though is huge.
Right, yeah, like I think that's the key. That's what you do. That's the only thing you can do. Because like I said, it's not overtly, I'm not like trying to screw people over. It's just little things of how you operate, and it gets noticed with with people in your life that you're close with, or things like that.
I mean, even if people are saying it to you, nobody can make you reflect. That is something.
Fair.
That's a conscious choice.
Yeah, that's fair. So yeah, I think I've come a long way on that one,
But being selfish can be good. I
right.
think it's just learning how to balance.
Yeah, I didn't say that either. You're absolutely right. Sometimes you need to be selfish for certain things in work life, in the money that you make, in time that you spend for yourself or for your kids, or you need to be selfish with that time, so you get it. But it, has an ugly twin brother. Fuck them kids. I need time for myself. Like, like that kind of stuff. So it can like it can have two sides to that coin for sure. But balance, yeah, you're right. Balance is where it's at.
Yeah, I think we were just talking about it a few days ago. How if you're trying to make it in wrestling, you're gonna need a lot of like putting yourself first, a lot of investing in yourself,
a lot of putting yourself over.
You have to sell yourself, man. Perception is reality.
I mean, you're absolutely right, man. Like I would hang out with a lot of people, like just a lot of people that I came up with. I remember Jay Williams was one that was really good at that. You definitely need to be selfish in some aspects to succeed, especially in professional wrestling. My God, like, yeah, it's actually probably an attribute. But see, at the same time, that's why a lot of older wrestlers had trouble at home and family problems and things because they needed that selfishness for them to succeed. But on the other end, somebody has to be the victim for it,
Well, it's a hard balance.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of people who balanced it. I mean, I've heard of Bruiser Brody, having such a successful career, had it cut short, but throughout his career, he had a healthy home life from what people had talked about.
Yeah. No, yeah, certainly. I mean, but yeah, there's plenty of good dudes out there that had that balance down.
What would you say has been the best advice you've gotten in wrestling from a wrestler, from a vet, from anyone?
The best advice I ever got was probably at a seminar I did, also here in San Antonio. I think you were there too.
Which one?
The one with Tom Pritchard.
Yeah.
It kind of changed my perspective in a lot of ways because, like we mentioned earlier, you get engulfed in it and, you just start filling up the calendar and like just trying to do whatever and you lose sight of everything before you know it. You're in 5 years and you haven't really known anybody really to get into the business. Nobody that's in charge of those decisions, haven't been to the performance center, haven't gone to a dark match at AEW or a Booker T school, one of his shows. These like certain little hot spots that you can like actually do work in instead of just trying to fill the calendar, so to speak. So he really highlighted a different kind of road. Stop nickel and diming this shit, basically. If you wanted to be seen by somebody, you need to go get in front of that person. Email the right people, get in front of the right people, go help out at shows that are going to get you in front of somebody that can offer you a contract.
But you were taking those steps that not a lot of people would do, at least not from where we're from. Not a lot of people would pack a car and go to a seminar or like, where do you think that comes from?
I think I evolved into thinking like, I didn't need to be, go to the hot spots, go to where places are going to help you. I had to get there through doing the whole road warrior shit and like fucking, I was definitely, I was driven to succeed. I knew the things that you were supposed to do. I knew that they were going to be hard. I just, hit the road and go to any show possible. If you can fill it up Friday, Saturday, Sunday, if you can mix in a Thursday show in there, like some places might have, like, twice on Sunday. There'd be so many lucha shows in the valley. You could really do it twice on Sunday.
Yeah.
You just, as long as there was the time in the day, like, obviously I'm not gonna drive to Canada. We wouldn't make the show, like, unless I guess you could leave a day early or whatever. You get
unless you walk fast.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that's pretty fast. Yeah, man, that mentality grinded. It grinded repetition. Things like new things to try. I tried things with, so many different crowds. Know what works, know what doesn't work.
Well, you were very selfless in the ring, that's for sure.
I've been told that before too, yeah. And sometimes I look back at matches and I didn't do a goddamn thing.
Remember that match we had at the Pulga? I chopped you how many times?
22.
Shy from 23.
Well, the ref got the 23rd. Yeah, there was a lot of times where, like, especially you got to remember, I made those review videos for WR, and then when it came down to my match to put together a small clippet of highlights, and like the best highlight was like me standing on the ropes in the beginning, like put your hands up, stupid, or whatever the fuck, like that was like the best part, because like I took some cool shit, like, but I didn't do shit. So sometimes I would have to make myself like, nah, man, like at least like for like a cutoff, or at least like doesn't have to be the stupid back and forth at the end, but just like get a.
But you never really complained, and you weren't necessarily like one to say no to something. Like you were always willing to try something new, something different. I mean, you and I had a back and forth of doing WWE moves to one another, like famous wrestler finishers in a match. Just a weird sequence of doing popular wrestler finishers, just to see if the crowd catches on, and like let's see how they react to this.
Right. Just try different things. Yeah, no, I tried very hard never to say no, and I never took myself too seriously. I think that's the important thing to know about me.
Is that a negative or a positive?
That's a positive, in my eyes. Not like in the respect of like I never took my career seriously or my work seriously, and that's not what I mean. I just mean I wasn't up my own ass with like what this is, and like I would never lose to you, or you can't beat me, or who'd you ever beat, or like what the fuck, man? Like you didn't win that match. Nobody wins their matches.
Nobody wins their matches.
Yeah.
To piggyback to on what you just said about not taking yourself too seriously, are you married to the Richard Reason, like to the gimmick? Like, is that who you are, who you will always be?
Not necessarily. It is who I'll always be, because Richard Reason is an extension of myself.
It's true.
And any kind of character I end up playing is just going to be some kind of offshoot off that anyway. The style is going to come out. The cadence is going to come out. Like, the way I think is going to come out. So, no, I'm not married to the idea necessarily. I mean, if I'm really more married to the idea of success. If somebody wanted to pay me a lot of money to do some other gimmick, then I would just go do some other gimmick. If they're going to put me on TV, they're going to give me money, then
whatever works.
Yeah, that's that. This is me. I need to be me.
I've been doing this for 3 years. Damn it.
Respect.
It's my real name.
Reason, tell us about either a tag team partner or an opponent that brings out the best of you in the ring. Like someone you have like good chemistry with.
I thought you might ask this. So I do have those. There's a top 3. Well, 4 really. Bandana Joe is one. I think every time we were in there, like, we can go out there and we can not call a damn thing. Like, we probably did that a million times there at Luna, at the Pulga. We did that shit all the time. So you're definitely one.
Thanks, man.
El Naval is the same way. We just kind of go out there and it's like we're talking to each other through touch. through, like the way we tie up. We already know what we want to do. Like,
Oh, that's like me and Alvaro.
yeah, well, you'd be surprised how similar it is. Shout out to Naval out there. What's up, Daddy?
Hey. Saludos.
Yeah, so he's another one. Chris Austin is another one that I can have a good match with him in my sleep. We could be dead asleep, my arms tied behind my back. We'd have a good match. We have a good dynamic. It's just a natural good guy, bad guy thing. Like, no matter who you think is good or who you think is bad, like those two characters, like Chris Austin and Richard Reason, are always in a fight.
Yeah.
Like and it's gonna go. It's a tale as old as time. Like it's gonna be that way. Like, you're gonna look at schoolyards and high schools. Like, the Chris Austin is never gonna like the Richard Reason, and it's just such a natural rivalry. It's like the snake and the mongoose, or the cobra and the mongoose.
We saw you at TWL.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and it's like, I think you both have that character that takes it too far.
Yeah.
So it's just like you just one up each other.
Yeah, and it's just a fun time, every time. And Tony Strong would be the fourth. Same way, can't say enough. Just we can just go. We might call a few things and
Incredible.
just like read each other like a dance.
Yeah.
It's like a dance, and we know each other very well to be able to read each other that way. It's fortunate to be in the ring with those guys.
Really good dudes, man. And, every time you're in the ring, it's always entertaining. It's always fun. Like you said, you don't take yourself too seriously, and I think that adds plenty of value to the match because you know where you need to be to get the crowd to react, what you need to do, all those things.
Right.
I think I just got a flashback of when we were at Brewsome, and you'd call it gruesome.
I don't even remember doing that, but I hope it was me.
That's great.
Because that's pretty good.
Too many chair shots, kid.
Hey, man, they were all necessary and well placed.
Reason. Before we go, one thing you want people to know.
We're going.
Yeah,
We're going. We're tapping.
All right.
We drove into town.
Cowards.
And, came to your place where you dared to smoke indoors. How dare you?
Mel said it was okay,
That is true.
and you partook.
I did not. Says who? Show me the footage.
Brian Danielson going to give you a
This
fine.
is a conspiracy. Find me a VCR.
No, wrestling's meant the world to me, and if you've been entertained, that's awesome. I don't know where it'll go from here, but I would like to be involved in the business in some capacity. I never wanted wrestling to be a hobby. I've always tried to be as serious with it as possible. Some things get away from us. Life happens. We don't always do exactly what we want to. You have a good time doing it, and I have a lot of great memories, a lot of good people, a lot of good experiences. Wrestling's a beautiful thing, man. And I think anybody that's involved needs to keep that in mind and just don't get too bogged down by the grind. And you got to remember why you're doing it. Remember why you got into it, because it's a fun ride. You may succeed, you may not. It depends on the definition of succeed, though, too. In a lot of ways, I certainly succeeded. In some ways, I didn't. But it's been a hell of a time, and I think that's cool.
Till the wheels fall off.
Till the wheels fall off. Hey, it ain't ever over, Holmes.
That's right. So cheers.
Cheers.
What? We still need the toast.
I thought that was it.
No,
That's right.
I asked him what does he want people to know.
Yeah. No, well, that was great. I liked it.
That was very nice.
I liked it so much. I thought it was the toast.
What's the toast?
Just say a few words. A little toast to either anyone, anything, anywhere.
Shout out to people out there that have seen success. People that that have passed me on the way up. People that we know, such as like yourself, sir. You're doing very well with your job there, and I'm very proud of you for that.
Thanks.
Yeah, there's a couple of other people that are on TV now that have come up through places that I've, been to in different companies, and they're doing it, man. They're doing the dream. Shout out to Roxy. She did what I wanted to do out of high school, but liked drugs too much. She did it exactly the proper way. Just went right up the proper chain of command, and look where she's at now. That's super cool. So shout out to you guys, man. Shout out to anybody that's doing well for themselves in the business, doing what they love. That's fucking awesome. That's like what it's all about. That's what we dream of as little kids. Word of advice to young people coming in or thinking about coming in, or maybe you've been in for a little while, or maybe you've been in as long as me and just never really thought about it this way. But stop living the dream, because dreams are fucking fantasy, man. It's like it's a fugazi. It's a
some
not
people
real.
say dreams are for those people who sleep.
Ah.
Stay awake, guys.
Yeah.
Stay woke.
No, it's about the goal, not the dream, because the goal requires preparation. It requires hard work. It requires a path. That's what I said earlier about, going to the hot spots and there were places where people will see you, because that's how you get it done. Stop dreaming, wake up, make some goals. Cheers.
Cheers. Salud.
To making shit happen.
To making shit happen. Woo! Do you need a beer?
Yeah.
Can I run over there and grab one?
He drives fast.
He's in a rush.
Reason's gonna get back pretty quick, isn't he? Oilo.
What the fuck? That's just tremendous.
He's pulling back in.
That's fucking great timing. Good God.